Wind speeds are picking back up across Southern California following a weekend of calmer conditions that did allow crews to fight the wildfires that are still just raging in that area. The Palisades fire and the Eaton fire, the two largest wildfires in the area, are only 13% and 33% contained, respectively. In all, at least 24 people have died. More than 24 people are still missing, and more than 40,000 acres have burned.
Marjorie Greene has a suggestion on how LA can fight the fires that have done so much damage, and it is dumb as hell. She tweeted, "Why don't they use geoengineering like cloud seeding to bring rain down on the wildfires in California? They know how to do it."
Marjorie Taylor Greene is so deeply stupid, it hurts my brain. It hurts everybody's brain. It must hurt her brain the most. I'm here in Los Angeles in the midst of the craziest time probably ever for Los Angeles. I grew up here through the LA riots, through many wildfires in the past, through lots of crazy experiences. This takes the cake by far. The town is a complete mess. What we could really use would be leadership from Washington that helps, and not just wild conspiracy theories and uneducated ideas being thrown around with no care to see if they're viable, with no effort to actually implement them or anything that could help. She is now suggesting that they should use cloud seeding to put out the fires in Los Angeles. She never says who they are. I can't even breathe in this town right now. She never says who they are. She always has conspiracy theories that they, the secretive they, is somehow creating weather conditions, controlling the weather. She's implied in the past that it's Jewish people. I'm Jewish. If I was controlling the weather, trust me, I'd be making it sunny and not fiery. She thought that they were creating the hurricane, that Hurricane Milton, that killed lots of people in this country in largely Republican states.
Republican Congressman Marjorie Taylor Greene, who is now like a big mover and shaker in the Republican Party, is promoting a bizarre conspiracy theory about a mysterious they, you can imagine who that is, controlling the weather, suggesting that they are sending hurricanes to Republican areas to impact the election. Like someone is sitting at some computer somewhere pressing hurricane.
Go pass a piece of legislation. She's been in Congress for years now. She's passed zero legislation that she sponsored. None. Big fat zero. This town is being devastated. My mom had to evacuate. We just came back. Luckily, the fire moved away from her place. I can't go to my house. The fires broke my air conditioning, and we are the incredibly lucky ones. I have so many friends whose homes burnt to the ground. They lost everything. And she's sitting there just joking around. Why don't they seed the clouds? Cloud seeding is a real thing. They've used it successfully in different parts of the world and parts of America to encourage existing rain clouds to rain faster. You can increase the rain in an area by like 10 or 15%. It's a long-term plan. They do not think it would work at all in California, where it's a much drier climate. We currently have like 4% humidity. There's no water in the atmosphere. Cloud seeding, you just shoot like salt and or different substances from the ground with airplanes into clouds to make it rain faster. But even if you wanted to do it, come up with a plan to actually do it. You keep saying this mysterious they. You're in government. Stop acting like there's this secret government that controls things. It's you. You're one of the people that's in government that gets to do the things. That's the whole purpose of government. It's not to tweet. It's not to post about how other people in power secretly can do stuff. You're in power. You can do stuff. Pass something. Do something. I researched cloud seeding on ChatGPT and other online articles for 10 minutes and learned all about it. Can you do that? MTG, is it possible? Majorly Tainted Grinch, could you take a couple minutes to research what you're talking about, or are you just like floating conspiracies and shooting stuff? It seems to be more your vibe. I'm really tired of it. When it's like fun and games, it's fun and games. But when it's life and death, it's not fun at all. It's really deeply irresponsible. If, by the way, Democrats were this mysterious they that was controlling the weather and making hurricanes hit Republican areas, wouldn't the Democrats then very for sure use that same magical power to stop the fires? They would, but they don't, because it's not a real thing. We have the ability with science these days and certain technology to affect weather a tiny little bit, not in significant ways. And I'm too tired to have to explain this to you. I haven't slept. I'm obsessed with fire coverage to make sure we all survive and more of my friends don't lose their homes. But according to you, what's important is that there's this evil they that are willing to use ultra-classified, top-secret weather-changing technologies to create a storm so violent it wipes out the people that you think it's wiping out and then doesn't save others. I just can't anymore. I just can't do it. It's a conspiracy theory so dumb it loops all the way back around to being offensive. It's dumb and offensive. You are dumb, stupid, offensive, abhorrent as a person. You want an authority on scientific things? Here's Bill Nye. He's the science guy, explaining that conspiracy theories like this are not only a waste of time for an elected official to discuss while people are dying of natural disasters, but the government also doesn't have the technology to control weather on that scale. Take a look.
You know, you don't want to give crazy things too much oxygen, but you also have to knock things down that aren't true when they're gaining steam. And Republican Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene, she is standing by these crazy claims that the government can control the weather, which we know is not true. But as a scientist, can you help us understand why that is false?
Well, it's false because of the size of it. The amount of energy in a storm like Milton is more than every military in the world put together at the same time. It's just, the expression is physically impossible. And this is intuitive, you know, as Samuel Clemens, Mark Twain, everybody talks about the weather, nobody does anything about it.
What I know from growing up is that there are a lot of wonderful people who work in the government, and they just would not do things like that to harm their fellow Americans.
People talk about what makes you happy, what makes you live a long life. And it's when you're contributing, when you're helping people out, so-called egalitarian and so on. And so people who work in the government, civil servants, what the other side refers to as the deep state, they do it not for the money, they do it because it gives them satisfaction to make the world better.
And even if the government did have this power, you'd hope that they wouldn't be using it to target political constituencies. I think no doubt Marjorie Taylor Greene would do that, because that's where she gets these ideas from. Thou doth protest too much. You know what I mean? Oh, boy. I'd love to put these fires out. So, Marjorie, find your they. Find your magical they. And beg them to do it. Whatever at this point, whatever gets it done. I'm Ben Gleib for Rebel HQ. You can follow me at Ben Gleib on Instagram, where I'm posting lots of actual resources that can help people during this time and not wild conspiracy theories. I'm not even in Congress. Isn't that funny? It's not. Good night. Oh, also subscribe to my podcast, Last Week on Earth, because oftentimes lately it feels like it is the last week on Earth.